Thank you for joining us today for Worth It TV. I am your host, LaQuanda McCoullum, and we have a great show for you this week. And it's still my birthday month. So listen, we're bringing Neesh back. And if you were here last week, then you don't even understand. We ain't even scratched the surface of this woman's genius. She told us she was going to teach us how to make money in our sleep. And baby, I sleep a lot. So I need to make me a lot of money. It's like I don't sleep a lot, but I still want to know how to make that money. Now, before we get into this one, bring Neesh up, we're going to get into the word of the week. And this week's word is just be. Okay? If I ain't learned nothing in my 45 years of living, what I have learned is that there is power and there is strength in just being exactly who you are. Don't let anybody interrupt your beingness. Okay? Because when we're not being, then we're doing something else that really does not belong to us anyway. So if you're the kind of person when you sit back and you're just being and you like to laugh, then laugh some more. Okay? If you like to cook, then cook some more. If you like to swim, then baby, buy all the swimming suits you need to buy, but just be. Be exactly who God called you and who He created you to be, and don't let anybody disrupt your being. So I hope that encouraged you on today. And right now, we're going to get into our next segment. And this week we're celebrating, we're big up in Trap House Beauty Nails. She's a nail technician. Amazing. She does an amazing job on nails. She started in her house. Now she's in the shop. She's selling products online right now. And that took a lot of strength and courage. She did that all while raising her children and working jobs and doing all kinds of stuff. She still found the energy to just be. So Trap House, girl, you did that. And if you know anybody else who's doing amazing things, let us know too, because we want to shout them out. You can send an email to submit@worthitTV.com. We're going to get into this quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to make that money.
Hi guys, I'm LaQuanda McCoullum, Worth Advocate, author and host of the Worth It TV Empowerment Series. And guess what, guys? We have launched the Worth Less to Worth It course. Why? Because we understand that you are your greatest asset. And if you give me 1 hour, I will give you the keys to unlock your self-worth so that you can increase your net worth. And I'm not talking about how you're going to gain your next $1 million over the next 30 days or how you're going to get your TikTok and Instagram followers up to over 20, 30, 100K within the next 7 days. No, I'm talking about the invaluable human being that you are. You're it. You're worth it. Your dreams are worth it. Your goals are worth it. Your aspirations are worth it. And once you rediscover your worth, you yourself will get up and go get every single last thing that you deserve. And you will never settle for less because you will understand that you are worth it. So I invite you, I encourage you, I implore you to take the Worthless to Worth It course because you're worth it.
Well, coming back, 1990, Chubb Rock jumps up on the scene. I'm telling my age because it's my birthday month. So, come on back, Neesh. Come on back.
I'm back.
Listen,
All right.
today, though,
Right.
we're going to dig into
Okay.
your journey.
Okay.
Before we do that, we
Mhm.
want to tell the people who you are, some
Okay.
of the things that you've accomplished today, and then we're going to speed walk them to how you got there. Okay?
So I am Neesh Rose.
Uh-huh.
I am first and foremost a lover of God. I got 3 beautiful children.
Mm-hmm.
My career-wise, I'm a visual brand expert. So to break it down, I pretty much do graphic design, web development, merchandise. I create all that. But the title officially is visual brand expert, educator. I'm a teacher. I've taught in public schools. I've been teaching since I was like 16 years old.
Wow.
So I love that, especially teaching children and then some college students. So I really love doing that. I'm in the music industry on the business side. I've worked for Radio One for a while and just had different clients that are in the industry. So I help them with their visual branding, with their brands, their businesses, even small business build up. So that's in a nutshell. That's pretty much everything that I do.
Tell us some
Jump
people
around.
who you work with.
I've worked with the Andy Smith, I've worked with, y'all know Farnsworth Bentley. Is that Tubac?
Yes.
Tubac,
No.
Farnsworth.
Look, I'm old. I'm 45. Of course I
Okay,
know
so
it.
you know the newbies don't know. Hey, that who that? The guy that used to carry the umbrella for Diddy.
For Diddy, yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with him and just a bunch of different people, which is really on my, it's broke down on my resume. But I say those two because they really, especially Yandy Smith, that's like a good friend, and she's introduced me to a lot, put money in my pocket, but had really taught me a lot as far as business and just seeing the world, and even having a relationship with God too. Yeah.
So, and where did you go to school to be a visual brand
Yes.
design?
So I've been doing the same thing since 5 years old. I've been in art since 5 years old. I was in art elementary school, art middle school, art high school, art college. And I've been doing art I've never deviated with art from art. I've always, all of that I've been doing, just jumping. But that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
Okay. So the last episode, you said that you can show people how to make money in their sleep. Has your business always been lucrative for you?
So entrepreneurship for me, I understood young how to make money, how to save it, how to make it triple, how to make it double. Yeah, so I've been doing that for a minute. So when I actually started my official business, I really started my business a while ago, but I think I got it LLC'd and everything when in 2014. And so I was always coming to a certain point where I was capping that business, but I wanted to make more money. I was like, I'm always getting
wait,
this.
because you're saying terms that people may not understand.
I'm sorry.
When you say capping at business, what does that mean?
It basically being at a certain limit as far as how much money you can make.
Mm-hmm.
So I will always make around the same numbers.
What's that number?
Roughly.
But just so people can see, like, you know,
like
like when you want to grow, when is it time to scale?
Okay.
Or to go up, or if I'm making $30,000 at my own business, is it worth it for me to get a job? There's an upside and downside, because just because you're making money, you may have $200 that you made, but you may have, well, not with hair, $199 worth of expenses.
Right.
So that's not lucrative.
And
so that's what I'm talking about. When we're talking about lucrative,
Right.
did you ever have to work someplace else?
Oh
Did
yeah.
the journey ever take you someplace else?
Oh
Those
yeah.
kinds of things.
So like I said, like I was saying before, the last episode, I had Caribbean parents. Now they are big people on 3 or 4 jobs.
Okay. So it's not a stereotype.
Caribbean, yeah, no,
Right? So
always,
when you say working a job, all these jobs like a
no,
Jamaican,
it's a real thing.
it is not a
No,
stereotype.
I think my mom was very much, I'm not taking all these jobs because I got kids and I want to spend time with them. But everybody else in my family had 2, 3 jobs. Like that's a real thing. So I've always had a job since 13 years old. I've always worked. I stopped working in 2010.
How old were you?
I was 20. I had my son 24.
Okay.
I was 24. I think I was 20. I had Jay at 24. Yeah. I stopped working because I wasn't having enough time with my son. And then I had no choice but to make it. So I was always had a certain amount of money. My business always did good, but now I ain't have no 9 to 5. So now I was like, you got to learn some new skills. You got to go sit around some different people. You got to get in some different rooms if you want to continue having the life that you have without having this other job. And literally it was just like it was 2010, 1 year after my son was born, and I was barely seeing my son. My sister had my son 90% of the time, and I was working at a radio station at that time. So I would leave super early, wouldn't see him. Come home, he'll be asleep. And I was like, what kind of effect am I gonna have on my child if I'm over here busting? They had me working hours, man. When I tell you it had me work, it was crazy. I was like, man, I can't even go home. They gave me, we need you to stay at 8 o'clock because we got, we got Snoop Dogg coming in and you got to record it. So I'm like, well, what time I'm going to leave? When he leaves. So after all that stuff happened and I wasn't seeing my son, I was just like, yeah, I gotta maximize my business. Like I gotta get.
So how this is good. So how did you do that?
I actually just double my prices with certain things I was selling as far as visual. I started coming up with different packages. I started really studying more because for me, I was like, no, I got to figure this out. Like at this time, I was no longer in school. I was like, this has to work. So that's how I started to really jump into it and really grow my business and getting around the right people. Getting around the right people is so crucial. People who had vision. You have a vision, they have a vision. we work on this and we grow together. But for me, it was really meeting new people and listening to new people.
When you got into these spaces with these different people, what were some of the questions that you asked? How did you talk to them, and how did you know who to connect with? And how did that work? Because I think sometimes when we say grow our business, double our prices, all right, but if I ain't got nobody that want to buy my business, they ain't want to buy my business when it was $1. Now I'm going to charge them $2. You know, like, so what did you do?
For me, a lot of the times, I say this all the time: serve your way to success. Serve your way to success. The reason why I'm able to say, hey, Yandy is one of the top people, like I love her, we had a relationship, is because I served before I was even getting paid from these higher people. And I served and learned different things while being around them. So for me, I would always offer what I was able to do in exchange to kind of serve them, because I wanted to learn what they were doing.
Okay.
So if you're making $250,000 a year, $300,000 a year, it's easy for me to buy something or kind of ask you these questions or pay you for your time to tell me something real fast. But then I'm gonna have to go really do the work and like come restudy. But if you serve people and you meet them where you provide a need for them, they'll start automatically telling you certain things that you wouldn't even think they would tell you.
So by serve, you mean give them your services for free?
It could be to an extent. Okay. I think to an extent, give them your services for free, or just go help them wherever you feel like you can be a help to them. For me, it was always the same method. Oh, I like this person. They're a celebrity. All right, I'm gonna go to their website. I went to their website. It's trash. I could fix it. Now I need to figure out who's their manager, who's their road manager, who's connected to them. And I'll usually send them my work, or I'll send something that will look good for them. Like, hey, you could have this. I'm willing to do this for this amount of time. I just really want to help you. And almost all of them always like, okay, cool. This actually does look better than what we have. Because you're not asking for nothing up front means you must really know what you're doing. So they would always invite me to places. They would always, look at my stuff like, oh, this is really good. And then the more I did that, I studied. And I learned different things within the industry of design so that I can raise my prices. So now when they ask me, well, you know what? Or I'll give them a time frame. Let me say that. I'll say, hey, I'll do this for 3 months for you for this amount of money. Or not even this amount of money. I'll do this for 3 months for you for free because I really want to see you do better. They'll be like, okay, cool.
That's an investment you made into yourself.
Yes, because once that 3 months is up, they're like, hey, where you going? I'm like, well, it's over. Now this is my price. They would always pay my price. They would never go back and forth with me about what my price was, because I have already offered the value for them for 3 months. They know if I'm not there no more, they're like, well, who's going to do this? Or who's going to do that? Or it's not going to look the same way.
Hold on, I got to stop because this is a lot of information.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, now I got to go back because it's some very crucial things that I want to just pinpoint for the folk.
Okay.
Including myself. Okay. So one thing that you said was you found a need.
Yes.
Okay. But prior to that, you did some research.
Yes.
You found out who would you like to work with?
That's right.
Who I want to work with and how can I meet a need?
Yep.
Okay. So you did that. And then you even did more research. Who is responsible for this information?
That's right.
How do I get in contact with them so that I can show them how I can meet a need for maybe a certain amount of time?
Yes.
Right. You put a time limit on it. And then once you did that, and well, before that though, you were actually good at what you were doing. Okay, so that also helps.
Right.
Okay, it also
studied. Right, because you studied.
It helps to be good. Okay, now I can't be
Absolutely.
volunteering my makeup service if I can't even apply lip gloss. Okay,
we're not going to do that.
we're not going to do that. Let me tell you something. Those right there, those were clutch. Okay, that was some clutch information for just really growing or, growing your business. Yes. And so we're going to come back right after this commercial break. Okay. We're going to add on to that because my mind is spinning right now. Okay. We'll be right back right after this.
I used to think that doing the right thing meant following the law, falling in line. Turns out, laws only protect certain people, especially when Black women's lives are at stake. I was told to stand down in Kuwait, that it wasn't my country, but this country is mine. So I won't.
into some trouble. Turn that shit into a graveyard.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I know y'all went somewhere and got a pen and a pad to write that down because that, when you talk about $1 million worth of game, that was $1 million worth of game.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I could have went home and we could have wrapped this show up after that because evidently I got work to do. You hear me? So, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Um, how does what you did,
Mhm.
how could that translate into a different industry, you think?
To me, I feel like that model could translate into any industry. First, find somebody that you admire or that you look up to. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a chef, maybe you like this, you know, whoever's the best chef that you feel that they are, you find them, you do research. I do little things like just look up what those people actually like. You know, I go deep into it because when I meet them, and I always say when, because people are like, what if it don't happen? Now you gotta have faith, you gotta be positive, and you gotta go forward. You know what I'm saying? But I go as far as find out what they like, what they don't like, and then you just offer your services as serving though. A lot of us feel like, you know, I'm not doing nothing for free. You know, it costs me all this money to do this and I got paid for this. I'm not doing nothing for free. But it's like, listen, what's 3 months of serving when you could have 3 years of living in
Your
plenty
best life.
because you
Woo.
served. I tell people that all the time. People ask me all the time, how did you get in this room? How did you meet that person? How do you do that? I have the same method all the time. I serve them 3 months
3 months.
minimum.
See, let me tell you something. It's something about this 90-day rule because Steve Harvey said it about dating. Now, Neesh Rose is saying about your service.
Yes.
So evidently, we supposed to do stuff for 90 days.
3 months.
You hear that?
It's just enough time.
It's enough time to find out if he the one, and it's
Yes.
enough time for people to see what
What we
you
want.
working
That's
with.
right. That's right. Yes, absolutely.
Listen, let's get into 90-day rule everything.
Because you can really move a lot in 3 months. You can make a lot shake, a lot move in 3 months if you are intentional, if you hook up with the right people, and you're doing the right things. A lot can be done, and that's enough time for people to realize, like, hey, this is the 4th month. Where'd she go? Why my
Oh, to
stuff
make
don't
your
look like
absence
this?
felt.
Yeah, like why this don't look like what she did? Well, that was her 3 months was up. Well, can you call on the phone because we need her? Doesn't matter. It works for me in the media and graphic design and visual brand world, but I've helped other people from hairstylists, from people who cook, people who do daycare. Same thing. You can take the same method
And
all the
just
time
flip it.
and just flip it. Always serve first. See how you can serve someone first to grow your money.
What's good though, because we have some people out here who are like myself, who served only,
Mm,
who served only, and you don't know when to draw the line. So this 90-day rule is pivotal
yes.
and it's important to people who don't know how to draw the line, or for people who have been taken advantage of,
That's right.
so they no longer want to serve. Because a lot of times the people get the idea of I'm not doing this for free is because they've been burned. They've been serving. They've been serving,
Yep.
and then the serving didn't work
And-
because you didn't do it effectively. So implementing. So go back to serve again.
Yes.
I want to encourage you. I'll insert this: serve again, but serve again with intention.
That's right.
Okay, and this doesn't make you a fraud.
No,
It doesn't make you a fraud. It makes you wise.
not only that, it allows people to see your value. If you do something for 3 months and you going hard, I'm talking about I'm doing everything. By the time that 4th month comes, those people are going to look for you. There's no question about it because you gave over 100%, especially if you serving. And I tell people that 3 months, if you serving for free or if you serving for a low minimum amount or whatever, once you do that, that 4th month comes, people are going to look for you. And now if you wanted to charge $9,000 for service, people are going to pay $9,000. You know what I'm saying? People's thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna pay, I'm just gonna have the 100 or 200. That's all they're gonna give me. No, because they don't know your value. You didn't show them nothing. So why are they gonna pay you? But when you show them your value and they're like, Dad, 5,000 a little steep, but I'm gonna make it work. They're gonna pay you because they know that you're an asset.
Right. And then also that money that you're charging is not a fee that you just made up out of thin air. Right.
Nope.
So you're also able to, with a little more research, but she's prepared. She probably needs to come back and do a little class on how to price your business, because you can't just say I'm charging $9,000 because you got a number that you just dreamt about last night
Yeah, no.
and said 9,000 is my price. No, you have to equate that to something that's really tangible, to
Yes.
what your skill set is, for the amount of experience that you have and the education that you have behind it, and then you come up with your number.
With your number,
So it's
absolutely.
not like just a number you just found from out of the wind.
And you could start small. I just looked at something that came up on my Facebook memories where I was charging like $200 for a 10-page website 10 years ago. $200 for me today, that's one pair of sneakers for my 13-year-old. I can't do nothing with that.
Can I be your 13-year-old?
That's why his face so big. Listen,
She be like 35.
yeah, his sneaks are so Indian. Come on, but it's like I started doing $250, $75, $50. I'll do your whole site for you for $100. I started doing all of those and putting them together, and people just start seeing the work. And it's like, hey, how one way I started changing up my prices was when I became kind of like in demand. You know, I kind of became, people was coming to me from everywhere. I need this, I need this, I need that. And I'm like, this price that I'm giving, I used that money yesterday and I'm still working on this 2 or 3 weeks later. That don't add up. So once people kept coming to me, I'm like, oh, they must really like my stuff. So now I'm going to jump up a couple $100. And of course it slows down, but people, you get more people of value.
Right, and your time is maximized more.
Yes, and in that time I just study. If you if you get a price and you're like, I want to be paid $1,000 for this, and you know you worth it, and people don't come in right away, keep the price. Use the time and go study. Go study and get better. So by the time you get them people that's coming in, now you can maximize the 2.5 because you have the skills. A lot of people set the price and be like, I'm not making that, so maybe I'm gonna go down on my price. Why? You got the credentials, you have the resume, you don't need to go down. What you need to do is study and apply more skill to what you're doing. Wait, that $1,000 person gonna come.
Right, and then you might need to do some more research. So this was important. This was important because a lot of time we give up and we've not done the work. So I had to point that out because people give up too soon and too quick and prematurely, and it's your fault. I can say that confidently because it's my fault. Okay. We expect, because we have that if you build it, they will come mentality. And if you, that ain't it. That's not it. So what Neesh has done was she built something, but then she went out to go get it. It reminds me of the scripture in the Bible where Jesus was talking to the disciples about casting their nets onto the other side. Right. And they're like, well, listen, we fishermen. We know what we're doing. We've been out here with our nets on the right this whole time. This is how you do it. This is how you do fishing. I know how it works.
Right.
But Jesus said, put your net on the other side.
Yes.
And put the net. They only put one net though. And they put the net over there and they caught so much stuff that the nets break. I'm saying all that to say, do it again. But this time, don't be afraid to do the work.
Yes.
But don't be afraid to do the research. And this just let me know the research is just as important as the work.
If not more.
If not more. So I want to, we're about to move into the next segment, but I have to recap some of this. I don't know if you want to say something else to somebody, for somebody who's looking to even to make their business move a little bit at the low price point. You may not even be at to raise your price rate because you're about to give up. Okay. I'm encouraging you. Y'all better not give up. Don't give up.
I know what I would say. Work your business like you would work your job. You should be working your job right, because some of y'all not working y'all going late. Y'all don't care nothing about the boss. Y'all not nice to your coworkers. Some of y'all just don't, right? But there's a lot of people who do take importance. Like they do go to their job on time. They are respectful to their boss. Their coworkers love them. If you can go to your job every day and work that hard, why you can't give yourself a couple hours a day to build your own stuff? Work on your stuff.
And if we talking to a successful woman over here, she got on green, matches the money in her pockets. Okay, she buying her son's $200 sneaks. Her youngest son, the biggest ones, they sneaks cost $300-$400. Okay, she out here buying $1 million bags like Pharrell. Y'all saw that $1 million Gucci bag? I mean, Louis Vuitton bag. He had $1 million bag. But anyway, saying all that to say this: because she talking to me right now. Giving up prematurely, not doing the work, not putting in the research. You don't even know who you want to work with. You just know you want something, but you have not even understood or decided who you wanted
Don't
to
get me
work with.
started, please.
What do I need to have with me in hand or
Okay.
in email when
Okay.
I'm offering my services to somebody?
The first thing you absolutely need a website.
Okay, you need a
That's
website. Check.
hands down. You need a website, y'all. Y'all can get websites for like $16 a month now. Like you
Mhm.
ain't even gotta pay all that money. And they got some that already got templates that's really good. You just put your little pictures in there
Wix,
and you keep Wix. You got
Square,
Squarespace,
yeah.
Square. I love Squarespace. It's like
Yeah.
it's great. But you need a website. That's like the number one thing. Business cards would be great to have, although some people feel like it's not needed. I still see people using it in them big rooms. So you still need a business card. You need to know who you are and what you do. Like
Mhm.
you need to have a kind of good elevator pitch.
Elevator
Right? Let me
pitch.
see if I can remember mine, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Mine is I'm Neesh Rose, and people are like, what do you do? I'm a visual brand expert. I help elite entrepreneurs captivate high paying clients through clear and concise visuals through their brand.
Whew.
That's a pitch.
That's a pitch.
You know who I am, you know what I
That's
do,
a
you know what
pitch.
I'm here to do. I had to practice that. I had to
Mhm.
even research and figure out what a pitch was, because for so long I'm like, yeah, I'm just a graphic designer. He was like, what? Girl,
You are a
you
visual
do
brand
that.
expert.
Yes. Visual brand expert and educator.
I wish somebody would call you a graphic
Excuse
designer.
me?
You better put some respect on who I am.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but you need to know who you are, have a website, be polite, be kind, and don't be scared to speak to people.
don't be scared to speak to people. What are some quick questions that you would ask somebody if you had the opportunity to talk with them?
I would ask them a lot, like, what are your mistakes? What is the worst day you've had in business? You know, what was the hardest thing you had to get over? What was your biggest obstacle in starting your new business? Depending on where you are. Like to me, I'd be like, hey, I'm starting a new business. What is the hardest thing you've overcome if you're a millionaire? You know, what was the hardest thing you've gotten to? And I always ask questions according to where I am. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm
Mhm.
just starting, I'm gonna ask about, now I'm just starting, I'm brand new. What are the things I should look for? What was your mistakes that I can avoid as a brand new person? I'm not brand new anymore, but now I may want to tap into another circle. So what are some hardships that you've overcome while transitioning into another one of your businesses? You know, like certain different questions like that I would ask, but I always go for the hardships. I want to know, tell me the real. I want to know where you started, how hard it was, what was the hardest thing you had to go through, because I feel like if I can learn from that experience, from you telling me and giving me some game, then I could avoid going down the road.
I don't know about y'all, but I feel like running home and brushing up on my elevator pitch. I feel like running home and doing some research. I feel like running home and also I really felt inspired,
Good.
but I felt inspired by that. Like when you were talking, I felt life happening inside of me. So I mm, 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 mm. I hope y'all felt that too. So listen, is it worth it? We talked about business and yes, it's worth it.
Yes.
Is your goal worth it? It most certainly is. So we're going to jump off here right now because since it is worth it, I'm going to go take a deep dive into reinventing my elevator pitch. I'm going to take a deep dive into reestablishing and researching and putting myself in rooms that I belong in.
That's right.
Right? My website is together. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So what am I waiting for?
Right.
Let me get out of here right now. Because it's worth it.
You got it
One
already.
thing you got me so worth it because it's worth it. Baby, I got to go. You can stay here if you want to, but I'm out of here.
All right.
Listen.